What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Fast. Today, let's get started with when Georges St-Pierre revealed why he'd choose to face Francis Ngannou in street fight over ex-UFC champion. Georges St-Pierre once claimed he would rather fight Francis Ngannou in a street fight over a former UFC champion if he had to decide. St-Pierre explained his reasoning and highlighted what would make somebody more dangerous in that scenario. St-Pierre is widely regarded by many in the MMA community as one of the greatest fighters of all time for his dominance at 170 pounds and retiring on top following his middleweight title win. With that in mind, there would be a significant size disadvantage if he were to fight Ngannou in a hypothetical scenario. St-Pierre mentioned that he would rather fight Ngannou instead of Bas Rutten and highlighted the difference between a street and MMA fight. In a street fight, I would fight Francis Ngannou than fight Bas Rutten. Very often people ask me the difference between a street fight and a fight in MMA. The difference is the street there is no referee. The best thing to do, never show your center line. Always go on the side and put you hand up like this. Now that's one of the best things to do. It's a self-defense tactic that is used all around the world because from there, the distance that I have to travel to cause a lot of damage to him is very minimal. Alexander Volkanovski breaks down Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira while issuing definitive prediction. Alexander Volkanovski recently gave his take on Ilia Topuria's fight against Charles Oliveira and even predicted a knockout win for the Georgian Spaniard. Volkanovski indicated that Oliveira's aggressive fight style could potentially leave openings for El Matador, which can lead to a knockout finish. I've got Ilia. I think just stylistically and what we've seen, Charles is very aggressive, very exciting fighter. That's why we all love to watch him. But if he comes aggressive like that, there's going to be opportunities for Ilia, and Ilia can bang. Charles could definitely catch him, but you can be hittable if you come aggressively like that, especially with someone like Ilia who's going to back himself. Will Topuria want to be defensive first because he knows how aggressive Charles is going to come forward? It's an interesting one, because we don't know how Topuria is on the back foot. We'll see what happens, but if he comes aggressive and does what he always does, I think Ilia wins. I think it's a knockout. Former Jon Jones rival claims retirement was the smart move. Jon Jones's former teammate and rival, Rashad Evans, thinks Bones retiring was a good decision. Jones announced his retirement from the sport as the heavyweight champ, which meant he wouldn't fight Tom Aspinall. Although that was a fight many fans wanted to see, Evans doesn't think it's a big deal for Jon Jones's legacy that he won't fight the Brit. I think it was a smart move. The fight with Tom Aspinall was a very interesting fight, but he's at the point in the game where he's done it all. He's achieved the achievable. It would be great for us fans to see it. But at the end of the day, what does it really do for him to fight Tom Aspinall? No slight against Tom, it's just another opponent. His legacy outweighs that. It's an interesting take from Rashad Evans, as many fans thought that fighting Tom Aspinall would do a lot for Jon Jones's legacy. Max Holloway cautions fans against doubting Charles Oliveira at UFC 317. Former UFC featherweight champion Max Holloway is better positioned than most to break down this weekend's Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira fight. Holloway suffered a knockout loss to Topuria down at featherweight in his last fight and beat Oliveira by stoppage in the same division back in 2015, so he knows them both well. If Ilia gets a finish or a knockout, it wouldn't surprise me. If Charles wins with a submission or even a knockout finish of his own, it doesn't surprise me. This fight is super up in the air. A lot of people are counting Charles Oliveira out, but he just thrives on being the underdog. How many times have we counted this man, and he somehow found a way to win? From my perspective, this fight is going to be decided in the first 3 or 4 minutes of the first round. Oliveira is going to get touched. Is Ilia going to touch him with something that puts him out cold, or is going to hurt him, and then Oliveira somehow finds a way to fight back? That's the main thing with this fight. If I was a betting man on this fight, and Charles Oliveira is the underdog, Charles Oliveira is one of the best fighters in the world as an underdog. That's all I'm saying. I'm not really picking a winner here. This fight should be super fun. Dustin Poirier rallies behind Justin Gaethje's title shot call after UFC 317. Dustin Poirier is in agreement with Justin Gaethje on the next UFC lightweight title shot. Gaethje is eyeing the winner of vacant lightweight title fight between Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira, which headlines Saturday's UFC 317 event at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Gaethje was upset that Oliveira got the vacant title fight over him and expressed his frustration towards the UFC. He said it's title fight or bust, and Poirier isn't against that option. I think Paddy's getting closer, but I wouldn't think they would give him a shot right now. He did just beat Michael Chandler, maybe one more big win and he's knocking on the door. Obviously with Arman, UFC reaching out to him and putting him as the backup, they have still high hopes for him getting in there for the title. But to me personally, I would pick Justin. Gaethje's discontent comes from the fact that he's done the UFC a solid on several occasions. Prior to UFC 300, he was in line for a title shot after knocking out Poirier to claim the BMF belt at UFC 291. However, he agreed to defend his BMF title against Max Holloway in the UFC 300 main event and wound up getting knocked out. I mean, a guy who's done everything he's done with the company and put on the shows. It's must-watch TV every time he's out there. And he just beat another high-ranked guy, and he's coming towards, he said it, the end of his career. If he only has a few left, he's still fighting the best guys. Put him in there and see if he could make that dream a reality, and the division keeps moving forward. Islam Makhachev on Kamaru Usman's callout. Islam Makhachev tells Kamaru Usman to get in line for a UFC welterweight title shot. After Usman snapped a 3-fight losing skid with a dominant win over Joaquin Buckley in the UFC on ESPN 69 main event, he set his sights on a title shot. Usman will have to await the winner of the expected title fight between welterweight champion Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev. Kamaru thinks a fight between him and Makhachev would be massive. Makhachev doesn't necessarily deem former champion Usman as unworthy. He just advises him against waiting around for his shot. I saw some interview. Kamaru said something. He's going to be a tough fight, but sounds good. It's a really big fight and, man, I don't know. Let's get the belt, and we will see after the fight in the press conference and talk about this. But I don't want to look behind Della Maddalena right now. He don't have to stay long and wait. He can fight again, beat someone, make some money, and be in the waiting list. He's the greatest welterweight of all time. He's Dana White's favorite fighter. Dana loves Kamaru Usman 100%. Like, they have a very unique relationship. Listen, Kamaru is one of the biggest names in the division. Guess what? If Kamaru wins, Islam wins, they want to fight, I'm going to stay home, and I'm going to be watching from home. You know, I can see this fight happening too. Tom Aspinall addresses potential Alex Pereira heavyweight title bout. Now that Tom Aspinall is the undisputed UFC heavyweight champion, he needs an opponent to defend against. Aspinall sparked rumors of his interest in fighting Alex Pereira when he was captured staring down the former light heavyweight champion while he was in the prep point for his UFC 300 bout against Jamal Hill. Aspinall assured that he was just showing interest in human body language and not necessarily sizing up Pereira before a potential fight. I've seen the pictures when I'm like staring at him. If you watch me at any event, I'll stand and stare at the flyweights like that. Not because I'm trying to intimidate them, because I really enjoy studying people's psychology before the fight. I just like watching the body language, what they're doing, how they're behaving and stuff. Maybe I'll learn something, who knows? I might learn something from someone else. I'm constantly studying the way people are acting because it interests me. While Aspinall's stare down may not have been fight-related, Pereira has entertained the idea of a move up to the heavyweight division. Should that move happen in pursuit of a UFC title in a third weight class, Poatan could cross paths with the heavyweight champ. Aspinall isn't against the idea, but he doesn't see it happening just yet because Pereira has unfinished business with the man who took his title, Magomed Ankalaev. I don't know. He's got business to do at light heavy. He's just lost his title in a tough fight. I think that Ankalaev remains to be a tough matchup for him. Let's see if he gets through the next one. In my opinion, Magomed Ankalaev doesn't get enough respect. Like, the guy has run through everybody. He just beat a long-standing champion, and he should be given respect in his own right for being a champion. It's a tough fight for Alex. Definitely a fight Alex can win. We've seen him, how powerful he is and stuff.